shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Checking the radar. Last night's storms are gone, but this front will help to bring us some showers and storms for part of the weekend. I'll show you.
Today, a gun violence walkout. Local students join a nationwide push for increased firearm safety regulations. Their call for change after the Minnesota school shooting. And tracking job numbers. Today, we'll get new data about hiring and unemployment. What to expect from this important gauge of the economy's health. We have made it to Friday. Congratulations. Thanks for joining us here on WRAL News. I'm Chris Lovingood. To start your day off, we're going to look at the forecast. I missed the fall-like temperatures there, Elizabeth, but I do know they'll come back someday.
They will. Hey, as a matter of fact, probably by Sunday. So we take a look here at what's happening in downtown Raleigh. Of course, hopscotch started last night. All will be quiet for it today. It's going to be hot and humid. That's going to be the biggest thing. But then for Saturday and again Sunday, we're going to have the potential for some scattered storms. Right now it is 69, so it's noticeably warmer than yesterday. 63 is our dew point, so we're not in the 50s anymore. So you're going to feel it. It's 59 in Roxborough right now, but a lot of 60s on the map, and it's 70 degrees right now in Southern Pines. Temperatures are running anywhere from about 5 to 10 degrees warmer than they were yesterday. So that's a pretty big jump for us. We take a look at our forecast this afternoon. We're going to climb up to 92. And of course, that's well above normal for this time of year. So the summer heat is back for today and tomorrow. But that front I showed you at the beginning of the newscast comes rolling in. I'll show you when Saturday and Sunday you can expect to see some rain coming up.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Today, students here and across the country will walk out of class, and this is for a call for more gun regulations. WRAL's Ali Calabar is in Morrisville this morning, and that's where one of those protests will happen. Ali, this is happening a little more than a week after that shooting in Minnesota.
Chris, we are at a Wake Tech, and at noon, we're going to see students with Wake Early College of Information and Biotechnology walk out of the classroom. This comes a week after the school shooting in Minneapolis. 2 students were killed and 20 others injured at Annunciation Catholic Church. Today, students at 11 schools across the state, 7 in Wake County, will be protesting gun violence. They are demanding a nationwide assault rifle ban. We spoke with a student organizer. He says this is an effort to remember the tragedy and the need for change.
Students and I were very passionate about ensuring that their lives are remembered and ensuring that we can not just become numb to incidents like this, given that they happen so frequently.
We know students, they tell us that they're also going to be writing letters to lawmakers and petitions as well. Again, that walkout is today at noon. Reporting live in Morrisville, Ali Calabar, WRAL News.
The trial for accused Raleigh mass shooter Austin Thompson is expected to go on as scheduled in February. Thompson faces 5 murder charges for the 2022 shootings in the Hedingham community. He didn't appear in court yesterday for his status hearing, but his lawyers did. They said they're waiting on mental health reports before determining how to defend him. Prosecutors have yet to hire their own mental health experts because they need that same information. And a person is dead, and 2 others are facing charges because of a crash on I-40 East in Johnston County. In fact, Sky 5 was above that massive scene yesterday evening, and this happened near exit 312. It shut down the road for more than an hour during rush hour. State troopers say that Shara Basil's car was hit from behind by a pickup truck. She then swerved off the road where she was hit again from behind by a Jeep. Basil died in the crash, and the other 2 drivers are facing charges for failing to slow down. The driver of the Jeep faces another charge for driving without a license. The pickup truck driver was charged with misdemeanor death by a motor vehicle. Authorities say a person is in the hospital because a car hit them in southeast Raleigh. What you're seeing here is video from the WRAL breaking news tracker around 10:30 p.m. on Belmont Drive. Police tell us the driver was arrested and charged with DWI, and we're still working to find out the name of the driver and the condition of the person who was hit. Today, new job numbers will give us additional perspective about the health of the economy. Let's go ahead and bring in Monica Casey. She's live in Raleigh this morning. Monica, you spoke with an economist about what we'll be able to learn from this report.
That's right. This This report measures the number of jobs created for the month of August and gives us the latest data on the unemployment rate. And economists tell me these are important numbers. They're the first ones we will get for August. Now, I spoke with Gerald Cohen, UNC's Kenan Institute's chief economist. Right now, the expectation is 75,000 jobs created in August and the unemployment rate ticking up from 4.2 to 4.3%. Cohen says the question here is whether that job creation number represents a soft landing or the first step of a step down.
My worry is that it's one of the first steps in a step down because of the impact of tariffs and because of the impact of immigration policies.
Cohen tells me markets and businesses can be reactive to these numbers, the first hard data for the month of August. He also says these numbers help the Fed to do its job and help businesses make better decisions. Now, today's jobs report comes out at 8:30 this morning, and it's the first since President Trump fired the former Bureau of Labor Statistics chief related to previous numbers. Live in Raleigh, Monica Casey, WRAL News.
Tens of thousands of North Carolina voters with missing voter registration data will have their federal votes counted. The Republican-led state elections board previously approved a plan requiring those voters to use provisional ballots. Well, some voter advocates were concerned the ballots would be thrown out. A proposed settlement filed this week clarifies the federal votes on those ballots will be counted. The state elections board is expected to fine-tune guidance Monday for state and local races. Today, a major announcement is expected about federal disaster assistance for Western North Carolina. The USDA secretary will join State Agriculture Commissioner Steve Troxler to introduce the assistance for people hit hardest by Helene. Today's announcement will kick off the 31st annual Mountain State Fair at the Western North Carolina Ag Center in Fletcher. That's near Asheville, if you're familiar. The Ag Center housed people after Helene and was a hub for relief effort. In fact, we're bringing you stories of heartbreak and hope in the mountains 1 year after the hurricane. It's all a part of our new WRAL documentary, Helene, What We Lost, What We Found. That airs Thursday, September 25th at 7:30 p.m. on WRAL and wherever you stream WRAL. A new lawsuit calls the deployment of National Guard troops in Washington, D.C. illegal. The suit was filed by D.C. Attorney General Brian Schwab just days ago. A federal judge ruled that President Trump's deployment of troops in L.A. was illegal. D.C.'s Bayer was asked about the possibility the troops could stay in Washington through December.
I know that there's a lot of reporting about how weary they are, and I get that because deployments are hard. People are away from their families, and they may not necessarily think they're on mission. So I think that the deployments themselves are running their course.
There are more than 2,000 National Guard troops in D.C., in fact, many of them armed and driving heavy military equipment. Well, the NFL season is off and running. The Super Bowl champions, the Philadelphia Eagles, celebrated their championship before facing the Dallas Cowboys last night. Super Bowl MVP Jalen Hurts put on a show with 2 rushing touchdowns as the Eagles got the win to start the season 24-20. Now, the big story out of the game, looks like Eagles star Jalen Carter was ejected for spitting on Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott. And that happened right after the opening kickoff. A replay shows Prescott spit on the ground first, and then after the game, Carter apologized for what he did, calling it a mistake and saying it would never happen again. And the NFL action, it just keeps going on tonight. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Los Angeles Chargers, they square off in Brazil. Kickoff for that game is at 8 p.m., and you can stream it live on YouTube. The Carolina Panthers get their season started Sunday. That is on Fox 50. They will be in Jacksonville playing the Jaguars. Kickoff for that game is set for 1 p.m. And then after that, make sure you turn over to WRAL. The Baltimore Ravens will play the Buffalo Bills on Sunday Night Football. The game starts at 8:20, and our coverage begins with Football Night in America at 7. Today, you can buy children's clothes and other items for low prices at the Kids Eyewear consignment sale. It's happening at the South Hills Mall and Plaza on Buck Jones Road in Raleigh. It opens to the public at noon, and it'll be open tomorrow starting at 10 and Sunday afternoon starting at 2. You need to buy a ticket online, though. I cannot stress that enough. It will be open each weekend through September 21st. Time is 4:39. Mass stabbing attack. A woman dead and 6 others hurt in Canada. The accused killer also dead after his attempt to escape. Plus, laying blame. a utility company accused of sparking a massive wildfire in California, two in fact. The equipment failures investigators are pointing out that may have led to the disasters. And you know what? Today, we'll have that summer feeling. This is a live look right now outside. We're giving you a look at Fayetteville Street in Raleigh. And ahead, meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner will show us how long we will be seeing 90-degree highs.
From the WRAL Severe Weather Center, North Carolina's most experienced team of meteorologists.
It is 4:43 and feeling comfortable outside. 66 in Wilson, 69 in Durham, and 66 in Fayetteville. You know, typically in the summer, we see temperatures in the 70s in the morning, sometimes low to mid 70s. So we're not quite there, but definitely a bit of an increase in our moisture. And we're going to see more of that. We'll have a cold front that comes in late Saturday. There's actually a level 1 risk for severe storms for part of the viewing area. So we'll talk about the timeline for that and our chance of rain again on Sunday. It does not look like it's going to be a washout of a weekend. There's still going to be plenty of time to get out and enjoy the weekend. It's going to be hot. Tomorrow's going to be hot like today. Our highs climb into the low 90s. So treat today like a summer day. I feel like a lot of us, me included, have been kind of settling into that fall pattern. But if you're going to get in a run today, it's going to be much more comfortable between now and noon. By noon, we're looking at 86 degrees. Again, coming up, we'll check out how to plan around the showers for your weekend.
A mass stabbing in Canada has left one person dead and 6 others hurt. Officers found 8 stabbing victims between 2 homes in Manitoba. 26-year-old Tyrone Simard is the believed stabber. He was killed and his car crashed with a responding police cruiser. The officer who was in that cruiser was critically injured, and the person who died in the stabbing was Simard's 18-year-old sister. Today, President Trump plans to sign an executive order rebranding the Department of Defense as the Department of War. Department of War will be a secondary title, according to 2 White House officials. Now, this will allow Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth to use secondary titles, such as Secretary of War. The president is expected to require all departments and agencies to recognize and use the secondary title. And for context, the Department of Defense was called the War Department until 1949. Historians say that was meant to communicate that America wanted to prevent wars. And the Department of Justice is accusing a utility company, of causing wildfires in California. The government says SoCal Edison is responsible for starting both this year's Eaton fire and the 2022 Fairview fire. New video shows flames at the base of an electrical tower in the early minutes of the Eaton fire. And the government is asking for $77 million in damages.
Southern California Edison negligently failed to properly maintain its power and transmission lines, negligence that had deadly and very costly consequences.
SoCal Edison says it will review the lawsuit and respond. The town of Zebulon is warning people about scammers impersonating town employees. Town leaders say con artists are posing as the town's planning department. They're asking people to wire transfer money, and the town says it will never ask for payments through wire transfers. If you get one of these calls, report it immediately. The Treasury Department will phase out paper checks for Social Security at the end of this month. The plan will also affect the use of paper checks for veterans' benefits and tax refunds. Now, those benefits will now be paid electronically. The government says paper checks are costly and more vulnerable to fraud and theft, and you can sign up for a direct deposit on godirect.gov. Durham County had a big year in tourism. A study found visitors spent more than $1 billion in 2024, and that translates to $80 million in tax revenue. It's the 3rd straight year Durham County has seen $1 billion from visitors. It's part of a huge year for the state. In fact, North Carolina broke its record for tourism numbers in 2024. And one thing people possibly are trying to travel for, hopscotch. I see a lot of people going to the music festival this weekend. Elizabeth, weather-wise, though, will the rain hold off?
You know, it won't hold off completely. So there's some times that you're going to need to be aware, especially tomorrow evening. We have a level 1 risk for some severe storms across the area. And then, of course, hopscotch is over. It's not taking place on Sunday, but you may still have Sunday plans outside. So we'll take a look at that as well. Temperatures, of course, feeling like summer again. We're back into the low 90s. The humidity has returned. We're going to see late day storms on Saturday. And of course, the big events for hopscotch are in the evening. So I'm going to walk you through the timeline for that rain and then a chance, excuse me, of some showers on Sunday. Once we get to Sunday, though, temperatures do drop back, looking at a high of around 80 degrees. Here's a look. Here's the thing. Today is going to be just fine. We're not looking at rain today or tonight. So all of the hopscotch events should be just fine. Anything you had planned, you're heading out to dinner, to a movie, all good for today and tonight. 69 is our current temperature, though, so it's warm out there. Our dew point has crept into the low 60s. It would feel more like, full-on July if the temperature were in the mid-70s and the dew point were in the low 70s. So we're not quite there, but you'll notice a difference anyway as you step out the door. Holding on to 59 in Roxborough right now, but just 70 there in Southern Pines, so it's warm. 64 in Goldsboro, 66 in Rocky Mount, and we're mostly mid to upper 60s in the Triangle, 69 in Knightdale and Garner, 68 in Cary, and 66 in Apex. Around town today, it's just going to feel hotter. Temperatures will be in the low to mid 90s in the Triangle and Fayetteville, so just keep that in mind. But again, today does stay dry. 86 is our normal high, so 92 and 93 definitely well above normal, but then we're just going to crash as we get into Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. But the temperatures cooling down on Sunday are also most likely because of the rain in the forecast. But we will see a nice drop in our dew point, so it's steamy for today and tomorrow. Monday and Tuesday, we're right back into the mid-50s, which feels like fall, so some pretty weather ahead. So we're taking a look at our Hopscotch Festival, looking at temperatures in the early evening, mainly in the mid-80s. But again, we're going to walk through that chance for rain coming up. Also, for Saturday afternoon and evening, we have that potential for the college games to be affected by that rain as well. Looking ahead to next week, we're just back to very, very quiet weather. Highs are below normal in the upper 70s to low 80s.
I love those numbers. Thanks, Elizabeth. Pumpkin spice spending. Fall flavors are boosting sales as the summer wraps up. Ahead, why they're so good for business. Plus, Street Fighter, live action. Fight! Jason Momoa has taken on another video game movie role. That's coming up in the Hollywood Minute. Good morning, Carrie. Fenton and Carrie. No one's out there right now, but someone's clearly watching us here on WRAL News. Thank you very much. You're keeping me employed. The Holly Springs Police Department is naming a new K-9 after former Wake County Deputy Ned Bird. Now, Bird was a K-9 handler, and he died in an ambush during a traffic stop 3 years ago. The police department says it is an honor to keep his name alive. The Trump administration is not moving forward with plans to help stranded travelers, and this was a plan under the Biden administration. It would have promised money, lodging, even meals to passengers when airlines canceled flights. But the rule was not put in place. It was left to the new Trump administration to decide. Carriers opposed the rule. They argued it would increase operating, even ticket costs. And more airlines, most of them in fact, make some compensation available. Whether you love it, whether you hate it, pumpkin spice is a big hit in the fall. Pumpkin has carved out its place as a seasonal comfort for so many people. The flavor also gives companies a chance to catch shoppers' attention with new seasonal packaging. Thomas McMillan is the director of the Center for Retailing Innovation at Texas A&M University, and he says pumpkin spice is tried and true.
For other brands, pumpkin spice is a smart play. It allows them to do something fresh and innovative without spending millions on research and development.
I mean, it's not apple cider, but sure, it exists. McMillan says people are willing to pay a little bit more for pumpkin spice because they know it's only going to be here for a short period of time, whereas apple cider is year-round. Jason Momoa is joining the cast of the upcoming Street Fighter movie, plus a new film out of New Zealand. Here's David Daniel with today's Hollywood Minute.
You have to have fun with it.
Jason Momoa is getting his Street Fighter on. He'll play Blanca in a live-action adaptation of the classic video game franchise. The cast also includes Curtis 50 Cent Jackson as Balrog and David Dastmalchian as M. Bison. Street Fighter, the first film in a deal between Legendary Pictures and video game company Capcom, is due in IMAX and other theaters October 16, 2026.
You want to rub your hands together like this? You can tell me what choir's about. Singing? Yeah. Batia! Batia! Tosafa! Okay, that's a work in progress.
A grieving mother draws on her Samoan roots, teaching elite, mostly white New Zealand private school students in Tina. She and her choir defy expectations, make connections, and discover what's possible when they encourage and celebrate each other. Tina is in theaters today. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
A teen in New Hampshire went on a deep-sea fishing trip and then came back with a massive catch, even bigger than he is. 13-year-old Jackson DeNeo caught a 177-pound Atlantic halibut. Goodness gracious. He fought that fish for about 30 minutes, bringing it near the boat only to have it dive back down. but he was eventually able to get the fish to the surface with the help of a crew. I hope some people absolutely helped him during that. Fellow passengers cheered him on, and his family is working to get his fish checked out for a junior record. That is amazing. Hey, another week of high school football kicks off tonight. Be sure to tune in to Football Friday tonight at 11:15. Our game of the week, the undefeated Middle Creek Mustangs will hit the road to take on the Garner Trojans. Plus, highlights from more games from around our area. Do not miss all the hard-hitting high school football action. That's happening tonight on WRAL. Your time is 4:56. School shooting protest. Students here and across the country plan to walk out of class today, where we expect to see these demonstrations calling for stricter gun control. An August jobs report. New data will be released today as job openings are projected to go up, and with them, the unemployment rate. Ahead at 5, how economists are reacting to the forecasted numbers. Plus, math score gap. Researchers say girls' math scores are struggling more post-pandemic. The different learning styles across boys and girls that may contribute to that gap.